Welcome to the town hall. I want to introduce you all to our illustrious new head of schools, V. Weiss. V,
Oh,
here you go.
thank you so much, Anita, for that warm and illustrious introduction and for those beautiful tunes and songs and warm welcome. I love the ECC community, and we're so fortunate to have you and Yael's leadership. I want to thank all of you for being here this evening as we share our plans for the year to come. I want to thank you for sending in questions in advance. We received many questions. We obviously won't be able to get to all of them tonight, but they have informed much of what we will share with you tonight. Tonight is the start of a conversation. There is still a lot that we do not know. And for everything that we learn, there are many questions and unresolved aspects that are being worked out, not only on a school level, but on a state and county level. This is an evolving situation. Policies and recommendations change daily. We get briefed by the county and by the Department of Social Services on a regular basis, and we consult with a half dozen other medical and public health professionals, as well as experts in construction and ventilation and technology, and so much more. You have all received communication at some point or another about the Jewish values that guide our decision making. They're also on our website if you haven't seen them. Our primary guiding principle as we navigate this with you is pikuach nefesh, the physical and emotional health and safety of our SDJA families. We will communicate developments with you and continue to even after the school year starts and we learn more. As I hope you've seen, the ECC has been sending out weekly emails with updates. Please look for this Sunday's email. This email will include an ECC fact sheet, FAQ sheet, which will answer questions as they come in, questions that will be brought up tonight that we don't get to, and also to share any other information as it becomes available. We'll continue sending out these weekly updates from ECC and updating the FAQ so you know what's going on. Also, feel free to use the chat box during this town hall to send other questions to the team as they arise, and we will try to get to them, but we do have a lot to cover, so if we can't address them tonight, we will for sure record them and include them in that FAQ in Sunday's email. Also, after tonight, if you have additional questions, please just email them to Anita. She's going to be collecting all of your questions and integrating them into the weekly emails. So, first off, I'm happy to announce that the ECC will open on its campus Tuesday in person. As I walked around the campus a bit today from afar, socially distanced, I saw teachers working hard, putting finishing touches on their classrooms. These are unprecedented times, and the decision to open campus does contain risks. I want to be clear that there is no such thing as guaranteed safety, but we are following all of the guidelines of the authorities and our consultants to mitigate risk as much as we are able to. We understand the challenges of working parents who cannot take care of young children and earn a living. We have even greater understanding of the importance of getting students back to face-to-face interactions and in-person learning that are so important for their cognitive and social development. Research about the safety of opening schools is all over the board. Some districts and some schools that have reopened have succeeded, some have failed, some succeeded at first and then failed. There is not enough data to guarantee outcomes. However, we have been closely monitoring those early childhood programs in this area that have been in operation throughout the summer, and we have been encouraged by the low incidence rate and have been paying close attention to their protocols for operation. We have emulated and improved upon best practices that we have observed to best mitigate the risk. We are very pleased to have a full cohort of qualified, gifted educators who will be staffing the classrooms on campus, and we so appreciate their dedication to our students. They truly are essential workers, essential for the development, love, and care of our children. Unlike the K through 12 classes, It is a much greater challenge to offer effective virtual programming for our students as a replacement for the in-person program. That, combined with the strong wishes of the majority of our families to return to campus, have caused us to use our resources and focus our reopening efforts on minimizing the risks associated with returning to campus and creating the most effective, safest environment that we could. We have upped the hygiene and cleaning on campus. We have upgraded the ventilation systems. You'll hear more about that from Skip. We have redesigned the program to keep students in cohorts of no more than 12 students together with 2 teachers all day in their classroom and in designated outdoor spaces. You'll hear more about that from Yael and Anita. We will be strongly encouraging our students over 2 years of age to wear masks as much as they are able. I've heard from colleagues at other schools that those attempts have been quite successful. And contrary to our personal beliefs, children adapt to it much quicker than we can imagine. We are doing these protocols and so much more. You'll be hearing more specifics about the new protocols and arrangements that have been put into place to keep your children safe and our teachers safe later in the program. While we are following the recommendations of the CDC and the Department of Social Services and the American Academy of Pediatric Medicine and local physicians and researchers with whom we consult regularly, there is just so much that we can do. One of the greatest keys to our school's successful opening will be your cooperation to keep our campus safe. We ask that you do your part to be responsible for the health and safety of everyone in the community. If your family has traveled internationally recently, please do not come to campus for 14 days after you return from travel, right? So to say that again, please make sure that there are 14 days since you arrived from your international travel before you set foot on campus. Please do not schedule play dates for your children, even social distance ones, after school with friends. These are not things that you are doing for yourself. You are being asked to do them for the other students and their families. Even if you've been a bit more lax on this front over the summer, I ask you to please be hyper-vigilant. It is the only way that we will be successful. We are taught in the Talmud, Kol Yisrael Arevim Ze Bazeh. As a community, we are responsible for the welfare of each other. We know too little about this disease and its spread. We know that there is a very low incidence of active symptoms in young people. We don't know their true impact on disease transmission. Please, please take this seriously and err on the side of caution so that we can have a successful opening of campus and keep everyone's families and all of our teachers and all of our community, and especially those with compromised immune systems, safe. And while some of you look to me as Yael and Anita's boss who oversees everything, I too have a boss. I take my direction from our very talented and committed board of directors, led by the one and only chairperson of our board of trustees, the incredible Heidi Gantworth. Let's hear a few words right now from Heidi.
Thank you. That's quite an introduction, Zvi. I appreciate that.
Well, I was illustrious, so you
okay. I'll take it. Well, I just wanted to take the opportunity to say hello to all of you. And I don't often get to meet with many members of the ECC, and it's wonderful to see you. There's some familiar faces. I want to welcome back our families that have been with us for a while, and especially welcome new families to our ECC. I know this has been a really hard and stressful time, and I just want to acknowledge how challenging these decisions are that we all have to make for our families and our children. And I appreciate how important this time is and this information that we're getting out to you. I wanted to let you know that your Board of Trustees has a really wide range of perspectives and constituencies represented. Many of our trustees have had kids in our ECC. We have people who have been much more on the cautious side, people more ready to get back to school. All of those perspectives have been represented at the board table throughout this entire process. And we have been meeting over the summer, which generally the Board of Trustees does not do. But because of the importance and the magnitude of the kinds of decisions that are having to be made, we want to make sure that we are discussing and pushing and questioning and being really involved in all of these conversations. Now, to be clear, and just so everybody understands, the decisions that are being made here are operational decisions. And generally, the board does not decide operational matters. But because these are so important, it is important for us to be aware and engaged and to be informed. And so we really have been, and many thanks to Zvi and Skip and your ECC leadership for keeping us in that mix. We've been reviewing planning. We are involved in every decision about opening that gets made. We give our input, and those decisions are made in conjunction with this diverse group of trustees. And again, what we're doing is always in accordance with state and local guidelines, and often exceeding those guidelines to make sure that we are doing everything we can to keep our kids and our families safe. I want to let you know that I have had the opportunity to work very closely with our leadership over the last several months through all of this. And I just cannot stress enough how remarkable our leadership team, and that includes Yael and Anita and you know, Shirley's on this call, Skip, Zvi, just an incredible team that has put in countless hours preparing for every sort of possibility and really doing work that summers have not, this is not a relaxed summer, it's a really different summer. And they've just been extraordinary, and I just can't say enough. You know, none of this is easy. There are no easy answers here, but they have put the hours, the energy, and the effort in. And I just can't tell you how impressed I am and how lucky we are to have these folks. I have no doubt that we are going to continue to provide exceptional care, community, and education for all of your ECC students. I am just so confident in our ability to deliver that. And we can't wait to see them back on campus this week. So thank you for putting your trust in us.
Thank you, Heidi, for your leadership and for those wonderful words. And now it is my honor to reintroduce you to Anita and Yael this time, who will share about our ECC program.
Thank you, Zvi. Thank you, Heidi, for your kind words as well. And Zvi, certainly welcome to SDGA. This will be a first of an unusual first year at SDGA, but we're thrilled to have you on board. Good evening to everyone, especially to all our returning and new families to our SDGA community and early childhood center. It is my pleasure to partner with you as we begin the school year on Tuesday, August the 18th. The backbone of the school begins with the staff at the ECC. And I'd like to take a few minutes to acknowledge each and every one of them who are truly committed, dedicated, and passionate about teaching our youngest students. My utmost respect goes out to our ECC office manager, Laura Morinson, our ECC talented assistant director, musicians, Anita Ip, who thank goodness can sing because I cannot hold a tune, and the ECC experienced teaching staff, Analu, Sashka, Sharon, Wendy, Sylvia, Limora, Laela, Wanda, Gloria, Stephanie, Terry, Cindy, Sarah, Vered, Marielle, Esther, and Beryl. Utmost respect. Thank you for joining me on this journey. We'll begin the school year having implemented new procedures and protocols, with the first priority being the health and safety of our preschoolers, families, and staff. So I want to take a few minutes just to discuss some of these changes that we've made this year. Each class has a maximum of 12 children per class with 2 teachers. These children will remain with the same teachers for morning daycare, which is usually 7:30 a.m. to 9 o'clock. Preschool hours are 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. or till 3:30, depending if they're in the 4-year-old program. And afternoon daycare, which is from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. So this year, there is no commingling of the classes with each other, whether they're on the playground or indoor or outdoor. The children will stay with the same cohort, with the same 2 teachers throughout the day. So we are encouraging a tremendous amount of outdoor learning to take place this year, as well as spending majority of the time outside on our campus. We are planning for each class to be assigned a specific outdoor area for the entire day. So they will not have to worry about another class mixing with them, rushing off the playground because another class is scheduled to be in the playground though. Each class will have a specific outdoor area for that entire day, which will definitely encourage the teachers to have an indoor-outdoor learning environment and use the classrooms probably for bathroom, the snack lunch, and quiet time throughout the day. Now, while K through 12 students are not on campus for the time being, the ECC students will have access of the entire campus. We're pretty happy about that at the moment. We'll be using the main playground, covered area, which is the bike area, a smaller patio area by the mosaic that has been set up with outdoor classroom. An outdoor classroom has been set up outside the Ilanot classroom, which is downstairs. We set up an outside classroom upstairs by the elevator, which is just outside B room 206, which is right near the kindergarten classrooms. We also plan to use the kindergarten sensory garden, which we're pretty excited about, Lavana's garden, the GMLS green grass area, including the smaller green grass area, which is by the GMLS playground, and every crook and cranny that the teachers would like to use on the entire campus, including Zvi's office. In the classroom, the teachers have been spending many hours rearranging their furniture. They've been moving sofas, couches out of the classroom, dividing the games and specific toys into specific days. They have chosen, some of the teachers have decided that they'll have specific games and manipulatives for Monday, disinfect those games and activities at the end of the day, put those away. They have specific games then for Tuesday, and so on and so forth though. So there will be no mixing of these toys and games though, but they have them specifically assigned for specific days though. As well as we'll be providing specific containers with the children. They'll have their own markers, their own pencils, glue sticks and scissors and things like that though. So they'll have their own little supplies. All the manipulatives are going to be cleaned and disinfected daily. We have also made a tremendous amount of retrofitting to keep everyone healthier during this time. You'll see fans in the classroom. We have covers on the toilets. We have UV lights. We have increased the disinfection protocols. And this year, we have the pleasure that one of the SDJA staff member, dedicated facility staff member, John Morales, is going to be joining us in the ECC. And he will be, his main job will be disinfecting the toilets, the high touch areas, and sanitizing the toys and things like that on a daily basis. And he'll be part of the ECC during the morning times, during the daytime though, as well as though the classrooms will be cleaned during the evening with the cleaning crew though. So we're thrilled that John is going to be joining our staff this year. And also what we have also, you'll see in the video that we're about to show you in a few minutes though, is we've installed additional hand washing stations, as well as there'll be many hand sanitizing stations that we have also installed throughout the school. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to hand it over to Anita. Anita's going to show us a little video though that actually shows the improvements that's taking place in the classroom and a little bit about our outdoor classroom.
All right, we have a little video for you that shows you the indoor areas and outdoor areas. This year we have put in place a few procedures to limit access to our center for safety reasons. So we wanted to give you a look into our school. This video and the other one that we will show you today will also be included in this week's newsletter on Sunday. So that will be included in Sunday's newsletter as well, so you can watch it with your child together. So I want to talk a little bit about our new drop-off procedures, pickup procedure, as well as give a nod to Brightwheel. That's our new app that I hope all of you have heard about by now. As I said, we are limiting access to the ECC and have switched our procedures for drop-off and pickup to a curbside drop-off and pickup system. You probably have read the procedure in the reopening handbook, but I want to give you a short video to give you a visual about the process so you can imagine it better, and again, show it with, watch it together with your children. In order to limit touch points and increase communication with you, we have also signed up to our new app called Brightwheel. You should all have gotten an invitation to Brightwheel from me by now. If you have not, please email me at the email aip@sdja.com. It's in my name, and I will get an invitation out to you directly. Go ahead and activate it, and that is the way that you will be linked to your child's profile, and that is your view into the classroom. You will be getting photos, updates from the teachers directly. You can message your teachers directly, and it's a wonderful way to stay in touch and know what your child is up to in class. We're super excited about the system because we know that by limiting access to our center, you might be a little nervous about, what is my child doing? And Brightwheel is the way to go. So please reply to your teachers' emails when they message you. Most of them have messaged you by now, and get familiar with the system. I would like to illustrate to you what the drop-off procedure looks like now with a little video. Here we go. So that's how drop-off is going to work. Pickup is very similar to that. You will drive up to the curb and you will message your classroom teacher. And then your classroom teacher will get your child ready gather their belongings together, wash their hands, get their shoes on, and then one of the exit committee is going to pick up the child from the classroom and will walk him or her downstairs to your car. You check them out off the bright wheel by scanning the QR code, and Bob's your uncle. So that's how it works. I will be including more videos about Brightwheel in the next newsletter as well. There were videos and instructions in the newsletters the last few weeks. So go ahead and take a peek at those really useful videos. You as a parent have access to your child's profile. You can upload a picture. You can edit who can pick up and who can drop off. And one thing I want to make you aware of that you also have a spot to put allergy information. And this to me is very near and dear to my heart. I have lots of allergies and asthma. I've lived with it all my life. So I have become the allergy person in the ECC. So if you can please jump on Brightwheel, just jot down a couple of notes, how severe the allergy is, give me a couple of details. This might seem repetitive to you because you've been filling out a lot of forms, I know, but the Brightwheel app is the way that your teacher will directly access your child's profile, and they can circumvent the office that way. They don't have to call me, hey, Anita, can you check if Ari has a nut allergy? They can just directly go onto their Brightwheel profile, and it's a fantastic system to make sure that we're as safe as possible. So by now, you said you already should have gotten some messages from your teachers. You all have a class Zoom tomorrow with your teachers. We're all super excited to see you and see all the children together on Zoom before we see you in person on Tuesday. And we're all also looking forward to our Monday visits to you at home if you chose to go for that. So I want to wish us all a wonderful year, and so excited to have you and grateful for you to be with us. I want to pass it on to our CFO, Skip Karpowicz.
Hi, everybody. My name is Skip Karpowicz. I have met some of you, not all of you, and it's a pleasure to be here. It's interesting. I was thinking about, should I do an introduction, and realized that my career path includes 23 years as an executive vice president of a biomedical research institute, which happens to be one of the world's most foremost immunology research institutes. And I'm realizing how that experience has prepared me for something that none of us ever expected. But I live here in Carmel Valley. I've been at the school for 6 years. And like all of us, I wear many hats. I'm the chief operating officer and also the chief financial officer. And there have been some questions in both those fronts tonight sent before the meeting, and I'm happy to answer them. I wanted to start just by mentioning that we just released and have communicated to all of our employees and our board a COVID-19 prevention plan. It's a very extensive plan, and we welcome you to read it. I've put the link, you can find it easily on our website, but I put the link in the chat along with the table of contents. And safety, our well-being, our teachers, our students, our youngest students, we really want everybody to stay safe and healthy. And we have, I feel, mitigated the risk to the greatest extent possible. The plan includes various sections, including how we're going to train and educate our employees and our family members. And that process has begun intensely. And part of that training is providing you this information and really encouraging you to read through it, because I think it will demonstrate the extent to which we have really prepared and invested in safety and health and well-being. And it will also answer a lot of questions that you may have. And we want to hear from you if you have questions about the plan or comments and suggestions. And we're doing the same thing with all of our employees. We really all kind of own it. And I think that the efforts that we put into this are going to keep us safe this year, as safe as possible. So one thing I'll start with, physical distancing or social distancing is a little trickier with our younger students. All the adults will be social distancing across the school. But one thing that we're doing that's going to help is we've taken our large campus inside and divided it into boundaries. So while we have 3 schools, those 3 schools will not be intermixing. And they'll be in cohorts and in bubbles. And you will not see people walking, from the administration building over into the ECC or other areas. From a macro standpoint, we're really limiting access to the campus. We've heard about the drop-off and the pickup. You're being asked to stay in your cars. We're not allowing for visitors, and we're really reducing the population on the campus, which reduces the risk of transmission. So when you look at that table of contents, I'll just comment on a couple things. The healthy hygiene practices, the hand washing, the hand sanitizer, a lot of efforts going on there. Face coverings, we're following the guidelines and strongly encouraging. We're actually requiring at the kindergarten level, and we don't have to require it up until the 3rd grade level, but we're requiring at kindergarten, and in the ECC strongly encouraging a nice comfortable face mask. We have some child-sized branded SDJA masks, and it's part of the educational process, I think, of teaching even our youngest students about wearing masks. We are intensifying cleaning, disinfection, and ventilation, and Yael talked a little bit about that. There are checklists and logs. We're using the right types of cleaners that are on the EPA N list that are safe, and there'll be extensive and regular cleaning and disinfecting of areas. Airflows have been shown to be one of the critical ways to mitigate risk of COVID-19. The outdoor airflows are best, and we're blessed with a beautiful playground where, again, we're putting the students into boundaries and staying in those boundaries and maybe rotating on different days, but keeping everybody in one section on a particular day. A lot of outdoor activities in the space, and in the indoor spaces, we're going to keep the doors open. We've got fans being put in every classroom to increase air circulation. And the ventilation system has been modified, and we've already completed in the ECC. We're about halfway across the campus by putting UV ultraviolet lamps in the air ducting where the air supply comes out. So we're starting by opening or modifying the ventilation system to bring in more outside air into the air ducting. And then these bulbs that are up in the air ducting destroy virus and bacteria and fungus and mold and everything. So the air coming out is going to be clean air. And we think that the investments that we've made with the ventilation are really critical. And we're doing this across the campus. We have specific plans, and again, you can read the information in the COVID-19 prevention plan for sharing of items, training of employees. And I want to talk a minute about health screening. So we're implementing a 2-step standard of care where there is at-home or passive screening using a program called EMOCA, which you should have received a text today and a link to download this app. And those screens are going to require you to answer for your student and for your household some questions about symptoms or exposure to COVID-19. And it's going to require that you take a temperature. I'm assuming everybody has a good digital thermometer with the younger kids, but take the temperature, report the temperature. And if you clear everything, you'll get a green badge on the app. The app's very easy to use. And that green badge will let you get onto the campus where there will be touchless temperatures taken of the students at that point. We're doing the same thing for all the employees, anybody coming into the campus. So nobody's going to come into the campus that has symptoms or has been exposed to COVID-19. So if you have any questions with the app, it's rolled out very successfully with the employees, but there are resources and numbers that you can contact. And just a little tip right away is when you log in and you get the app set up, you can go to the settings and enter a PIN number, or you can have a fingerprint so you don't have to type in your login credentials each time. And there's some other really good user tips that we can share with you. So I think at this point, what I wanted to do, there were a couple questions that came in, and I'll start with the operational questions. I think there were one or two, and then there were some financial questions. So one is, has there been any discussion of having the staff and students COVID tested prior to attending? And that's explained in more detail in our COVID-19 prevention plan. There's a section about testing. And we just completed today the due diligence and have selected a venue to get COVID-19 tested. And we're going to be doing that for all of our employees, starting with our ECC and our admin employees. And our teachers are hearing this for the first time here, but we'll be sending out information tomorrow. It's the most convenient and we feel a highly effective approach to getting a test at a point in time. And we're going to do periodic testing through the year. If somebody becomes symptomatic, we're going to encourage that there's a test. If somebody has exposure to COVID-19 on our campus, we're going to do contact tracing. We've got a team, and we call it the COVID team, that's going to immediately work to identify who may have been in close contact. We're going to reach out to those people. And we're either going to arrange and pay for, or if they prefer to go to their own site, rapid testing so that they can get a quick answer relative to exposure. So we do have plans for that. We're investing in that at the school. And I'll go to the next question, which is, I think at this point, they may go more to financial. This question is, if parents did not feel comfortable with children returning after exposure to COVID, what is the plan in terms of tuition at that point? And I think I'm going to put these two questions together because they're related. The second one is, in cases that somehow a child does test positive and their classmates must also be tested and quarantined, and that quarantine period is 14 days, what is the plan for those children as far as a tuition credit for the time that their child is missing? So we do have a policy and enrollment agreement, something called a tuition protection plan, and we formulated a special tuition credit and refund policy for the Early Childhood Center. So if a parent is uncomfortable at a certain point in having their child at the school, maybe they've been exposed to COVID-19, and they withdraw their student, then at that point, the tuition protection plan pays for, as insurance, a portion of the remaining tuition that's due. And there's a formula, and it's basically a proration, similar to what we did if you were here in the spring. It's a kind of a prorated amount. It's 75% of a prorated amount, unless there's a medical hardship. And a medical hardship, and you can read it, or we can send it to you again if you need it, includes if a doctor or a health practitioner says it's not safe for this student to be there because of medical or health reasons, then it's not 75% of the prorated amount, it's 100%. So the tuition protection plan is designed to protect you in the case of a withdrawal, even if it has nothing to do with COVID-19. Now, if the school needs to close, and that could be a cohort or a particular class, if we've kept everybody in their bubbles, that may be the decision that our COVID team makes, which will be in consultation with the county health office and other medical professionals in our community. In that particular case, the tuition credit and refund policy was designed that for shorter duration closures, there's not a credit back to families. But when we reach 20 consecutive school days where we've been closed, then we will formulate a credit and refund or credit towards tuition that amount. And that again is very similar to what we did in the spring. So the fairness and rationale behind the policy is to protect our teachers as well. We staff and approach our early childhood center not as a fee for service, but really as a learning center, a learning school where there's tuition being paid, we're hiring teachers and investing. And so we're not going to furlough our teachers if we have to quarantine for 14 days. And so we're not going to refund our parents because we're going to continue to pay our teachers. But we don't think it's fair, and we get it, that if 20 days pass, 20 consecutive days, we want to return some of that funding. And quite frankly, it puts some of our finances at risk, which goes back to the risk mitigation for not wanting to close. How do we keep everybody safe? Yeah, the financials are important, but everybody's health and safety and sense of stability and continuity is important. So those were the questions that were sent. If there's any other questions tonight, as time allows, I'm happy to answer them. But I want to thank everybody for your confidence and support as we head back to school next week. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Skip. And at this point, I think we're going to turn it over for a few minutes to Nurse Shirley.
Hi, everybody. Sorry about that.
No worries. Great to have you.
I know I've met a lot of your kids, maybe not so much the parents. I've probably talked to you more than have met you, but it's always a pleasure when I get to see your kids, even though they may not be feeling well. I know there's a couple questions that I'd like to attempt to answer for you. And I just want to start by saying that I have such utmost confidence in ECC. They go above and beyond anything to take care of your kids and the health and welfare, and they just go way over and above. And I have total confidence in them. Anita, Yael, and all of the staff, they truly are passionate about all of your kids. I'll start with one of the questions here. It's talking about quarantine. If it's required for staff and students, if they've traveled, does that apply to the ECC too? And how is that regulated? Well, yeah, that is applied to the ECC as well. If you have traveled out of the country, it is required that when you come back, from the date of entry, you are to quarantine for 2 weeks. If you're traveling within the United States, California is not one of the states that you do have to quarantine. So there's no restrictions when coming back and into California. And how transparent will the ECC be regarding if a staff member or student has been exposed or is sick, even if it's not in the same classroom? Well, I know for sure the ECC's always been transparent. All of SDJA is very transparent and always takes into consideration the parents as well as the kids and what you would want as a parent. They will be very transparent. If a child does test positive, which is really very rare because kids generally don't get it, but if a child does test positive, that classroom will be, the parents in that classroom and the cohorts will be notified. Let's see. If they've been exposed, the rest of the ECC will be notified, but the classroom itself will be, the parents in the classroom will be notified that there was an exposure within that classroom. If the child is symptomatic but tests negative and goes home, the cohorts, the parents of the cohorts will be notified, but the rest of the school will not be. And also, I just want to say that SDJ will be in very close contact with the county for any kind of guidelines, any questions. There will be a hotline available that's coming up that we'll be able to go to them for any questions or direction that we may need, which will also be very helpful. So why are masks for children optional? Says, I understand it may be difficult for children to adjust to masks, or perhaps even a little scary. So I've seen people opt for a face shield in those cases, but the potential of multiple children without masks seems like it would discourage all the children in the room from wanting to wear a mask. Well, the staff is going to strongly encourage mask wearing for 2-year-olds and up. Kids 2 and under, it's recommended by both CDC and American Pediatrics, the county, that it's more of a risk for kids that are 2 and under. So 2 and over, it will be strongly encouraged. And I know that the ECC staff has plenty of creative ways and tricks up their sleeve to encourage kids to wear masks.
Shirley, I just want to insert,
Yes,
2 and over will be strongly encouraged to wear masks.
2 and over,
Under 2
correct.
will not be wearing masks.
Correct. Did I
Suffocation. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Okay. Yes, 2 and under will not be wearing masks.
Under 2 will not be wearing masks.
Correct.
2
Thank
and
you.
over will be wearing masks.
Yes. Thanks.
Sure.
Okay. And what will the process look like if a child or someone in their family tests positive? You will be notified by whatever facility you were tested at, and you will be instructed what to do. And again, the ECC, SDJ actually will all be working very closely with the county for direction, and you also will be getting instructions as to what to do. So there won't be any questions, and any questions that you do have, there's always someone that will answer them when you go to the county. How will it be determined, figured out who has spent time with a positive diagnosed patient? So if it's a child, the teachers are going to be very cognizant of, you know, who's with who as kids, and they will be within their bubble. But also there's a contact tracing that's done by the county, so that if somebody in the school does test positive, the county is in contact with us, and they are the ones that ask plenty of questions to determine if there was indeed close contact. And then they'll take it from there. Then we'll be instructed as to what step to take next. And how will families be notified? If somebody tests positive, you're going to know, like I said, by the facility that you are tested from. So you will find out soon, as soon as they notify you. You won't find out from us, it'll be from the facility. And how quickly are you hoping to act on the findings? Right away. We will know if a child gets sent home and has symptoms, they will immediately take action and decide if the child was symptomatic and the child stays home and the child gets tested or the parent gets tested and it comes back positive, we will find that out right away and then take action. And again, in being in contact with the county, determine if just the classroom needs to close or the whole entire ECC will close.
Shirley, can I just interject really quickly? I cannot stress enough how important it is that we all as a community of the ECC and of SDJA have basically a moral contract with each other to be completely transparent with each other. It is so important for us to know even if your babysitter's grandma got exposed and now tested positive, we need to know about that. Our main challenge this year is to make everybody as healthy as possible and keep everybody as safe as possible. And for that, we need cooperation and we need honesty and transparency. So that means please don't hold back if you know something, but you have a really important meeting to go to that morning, please let us know, because you would want other parents to do the same for your child. I understand that we had a question from a few parents, how are you going to distinguish between a common cold cough and a COVID cough? Well, the answer is we can't. So we will be on the horn more often, I'm sure, to let you know something is different with your child today. If you've told me that they have allergies and it's chronic, and they just kind of have sniffles because they have seasonal allergies, that's noted in their medical record and in our files, no problem. If it's within the norm, I'm not going to call you every 3 seconds. But if it's something out of the norm, and we know your children very well after a little bit, we can tell when something is not right, and we will call you. We will probably call you more often because our level of awareness has been heightened through the pandemic, and it has to be high in order to keep everybody safe. So I hope that you can understand that commitment that we have to you. All the teachers will be wearing masks. We will put mask wearing into our curriculum, and it will just become a thing. I mean, just like napping. Some kids just don't nap at home. They come to school, boom, napping for 2 hours, you know? So it's like that. We make it fun. So I hope that this helps answer a few questions and kind of lay out what we would hope our level of commitment is to you, and we hope that you can bring it back to us.
And of course, we're going to be abiding by the confidentiality rules that we always do. So we won't be advertising which child gets what, but we will let you know if there is a child in your class or in the school that is either symptomatic or has been diagnosed. Okay. We good, Shirley?
I'd like to also say, I just want to reiterate that SDJA also does their own contact tracing. So kids will be very closely watched and be diligent in determining if there was a positive case and be very transparent in letting anybody know.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shirley. Thank you, Anita and Yael and Skip and Heidi. And did I miss anybody? I also want to thank Jacqueline and Jason for their behind the scenes work this evening and making this evening a possibility. As a reminder, moving forward, please make sure to email Anita if you have any questions, and check your emails diligently for the ECC newsletters that are sent out, which will include FAQs to answer questions that you send us or questions we didn't get to this evening. We really do appreciate your support and your partnership and your understanding as we navigate through this new adventure, and we work to make sure that we all stay healthy and have a great school year. And right now, to take us out, I would like to invite Anita to serenade us a little bit more. And I thank you again for spending your evening with us.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood, a neighborly day for a beauty. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Won't you please? Won't you please, please, won't you be my neighbor? Can we? Yeah? I think so. If all of the raindrops are lemon drops or gumdrops, oh, what a rain that would be. Standing outside with my mouth open wide, singing ah, 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 ah. If all of the raindrops were lemon drops or gumdrops, oh, what a rain that would be. If all of the snowflakes were lemonades and ice cakes, oh, what a night that would be. Standing outside with my mouth open wide, singing ah, 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 ah. If all of the snowflakes were candy bars and milkshakes, oh, what a snow that would be. Sunbeams! If all of the sunbeams were bubble gum and ice cream, oh, what a sun that